and welcome to FinextraTV. We're here at the Communify FinCentric Insights Experience in London. Stepping away from the busy event behind us is Sanders Calvert from Economist Intelligence Unit. Leon, it's great to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me.
As I say, we can hear a very busy and successful event behind us, and I know you've been partnering with Communify recently, so I'd love to hear more about the work you're doing together.
So indeed, the Economist Intelligence Unit, or the EIU, is very well known as a macro forecaster and macro insights business, particularly important in this environment at the moment with all the geopolitical change that's taking place at the moment and which has massive effect on financial markets. And indeed, the partnership with Communify is very exciting because Communify effectively is so good at managing data and turning that data into something which is really actionable for their clients, particularly the wealth management and asset management community, although not limited to that. And indeed, thinking about how we take the EIU data, this macroeconomic analysis, forecasting, scoring indices, and integrating that into the workflows of the buy side, the institutional buy side and the wealth management community, we think is very exciting. So we've created something together called Macro Score, which effectively takes advantage of all the technology and all the data integration capabilities that Communify have with all of that very robust macroeconomic data that EIU has.
That's very exciting. And sticking on the topic of data, what is the role of data in it's been spoken about a lot today as the new era of financial intelligence?
Well, indeed. Data is a really interesting one because it's completely central to a lot of the financial community. They live in data, live with third-party data, day in and day out to do their jobs. And actually, in most cases, having more data is typically not the answer. It's being able to turn that data into insights and being able to interpret that data and understand the so what. I think that's what Communify have spent a lot of time and energy focusing on, and I think they do that particularly well. And I think that's indeed why we're so excited to work with them, because our data is fantastic at the EIU, but it serves a very particular audience today in major corporations and central functions, and figuring out how to deliver that and deliver those insights and the what next and how do I action this, what does it mean for my portfolio, what does it mean for the exposures that I need to manage, what does it mean for the opportunities that I might be able to go after, and integrating that macro view into what is normally quite a security-centric data function within portfolio management, within asset management, I think is very exciting.
It is. So where does artificial intelligence come into all of this?
Well, of course, artificial intelligence is, you can't avoid it at the moment, and largely that's for the better because, of course, there's enormous opportunity by using AI and applying that to rich data sets. One of the key things to get right, and one of the key things I think that Communify particularly attuned to, is to work out where you want to use generative AI or probabilistic AI versus where you want to use deterministic AI. In the context of a lot of the data that we supply, that requires a deterministic approach. It's not appropriate that you might arrive at a directional sense of the value of the GDP growth of a given country. You actually need that data to be entirely accurate. It needs to be deterministic in terms of the outcome. And so working out what is the right form of AI, what is the right model to use for which specific outcome you're trying to drive, whether you're trying to drive a synthesis of lots of textual information and condensing a lot of textual information to a shorter summary, or indeed whether you're trying to identify the right actual numeric and quantitative data points to deliver to the user exactly the point that they need it in order to inform the decision they need to make. You need different types of approaches to AI to do that. I think that's something that Communify are very, very in sync with.
Well, I look forward to hearing more from you and Communify and some good advice weaved in there as well, I think. Leon, I'll let you get back to the busy event,
Thank you.
but thank you so much for sharing your insights.
Thank you very much.